Hello, everyone. Welcome to Barca News. It is December 27th, 2024, and Lamine Yamal has surpassed Kylian Mbappe. Also, the court in Barcelona have blocked the registration of Dani Olmo and Pau Victor. And finally, there's currently doubt within the club in regards to the signing of Rafael Leao. We have a lot to discuss, so let's begin. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the channel. My name is Moan. This is the Barca News live podcast, which is on every Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, where not only do we discuss Barcelona news, but where I also get to interact with you lovely people in the chat section by reading your comments out loud, answering your questions, and getting that discussion going. For those of you who will be watching when the podcast ends, don't worry. I will be putting timestamps in the description and chapters in the timeline in case you do want to skip through the discussion and just get straight into the news. Having said all of that, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, drop a comment. If you are looking for any Barcelona jerseys or merchandise, make sure to hit the Gold Kids Kit Bag or Fanatics. And if you are looking to place any sports bets, make sure to bet us. All links are down below in the description. Now, let's begin with the news. And this time, let's begin with good news because there's actually bad news that we need to talk about. But let's start with good news because, ladies and gentlemen, Lamine Yamal has surpassed Kylian Mbappe in value or market value of the player. Now, this is from Transfer Market, who just updated, and I'll make this bigger. Let's see. Who have just updated their market values, and I will even zoom this in for you so you can see it better. There we go. And as you can see, the most valuable player right now is Erling Haaland, currently sitting at 200 million euros. In second place, or I guess tied for first place as well, Vinicius Jr., 200 million euros. And there you have it, folks. Lamine Yamal is now officially the third most valuable player in the entire world at 180 million euros, tied with Jude Bellingham, surpassing Kylian Mbappe, who drops in value to 160 million euros. Now, Mbappe's previous value, I think, was 180, if I'm not mistaken. So he has lost 20 million euros in market value, given his slow start at Real Madrid. So now Lamine Yamal is officially more valuable than Kylian Mbappe, the third most valuable player in the world, the second most valuable player in the Spanish league. Again, surpassing Kylian Mbappe, who during the summer, they told us, that's it. Madrid are signing Mbappe. It's over. Madridistas were literally celebrating winning La Liga in the summer. And the season hadn't even started. But according to them, they had already won it because they had signed Mbappe, while a 17-year-old just surpassed their megastar signing. Now, there also has been other increases in value as far as Barcelona players. Pedri, who's having a spectacular season, is back to the 100 million euro club. We also have Gabi, who took a little bit of a hit, but still worth 80 million euros. Of course, that's because he missed an entire year. Let's see. And there's more. Rafinha, whose value has increased after the spectacular season he's currently having. He's worth now 80 million euros. He used to be worth 60, so 20 million euro increase for Coutinho. And then there's more. Pau Cubarsí, his value has also increased to 70 million euros. By the way, that's a lot for not only a 17-year-old, but also a center back. 70 million euros for Pau Cubarsí, whose value has also increased. So definitely a good update for Barcelona players, especially Lamine Yamal, who again has surpassed Kylian Mbappe. Now, speaking of Lamine Yamal, our young star has won the Globe Soccer Award for Best Emerging Talent in 2024. This award was presented to Lamine Yamal today in Dubai. If you don't know what the Globe Soccer Awards are, it's pretty much a consolation prize that the Arabs made for Penaldo. When Penaldo was not winning the Ballon d'Ors anymore, they created the Golden Globe Soccer Awards. in order to, console him. Like, here you go, don't cry. We know your ego's fragile. We know Messi's beating you, so here's some a nice award. Which is funny, by the way, because I saw an interview of Penaldo. Well, not an interview. He gave a speech, Penaldo, at the awards, saying that talking about how Ballon d'Or is not fair and that Vinicius deserved to win it, and that's why he likes the Global Soccer Awards or Globe Soccer Awards, whatever the fuck it's called, because he thinks that they do fair awards, unlike the Ballon d'Or. And it's like, come on, bro. It's a made up award. It's a consolation prize they made up for you. You're just trying to give legitimacy to a consolation prize. So in the future, you can say, look, I won more of these consolation prizes than Messi. Therefore, I am better than. But whatever. Anyway, so Lamine Yamal was handed the Globe Soccer Award for Best Emerging Talent in 2024. And this is what the youngster had to say when he accepted his award. Hello, everyone. I want to thank Globe Soccer for the award, my family, my mother, and my brother for being here with me. My father, who could not come and is in Barcelona. I love you very much. Thanks to Barca, my club, of which I am proud, and to the Spanish national team with whom we won the European Championship. Many thanks to everyone, to my teammates, the staff, the coaches, Xabi, now Flick, and De La Fuente, Shukran, which is, of course, thank you in Arabic. So Lamine Yamal thank his teammates, his coaches, including Xavi Hernandez, which of course is the coach that gave him his debut with the first team. So congratulations to Lamine Yamal, who racks up another individual award after winning the Copa Trophy, the Golden Boy. Now he wins Best Emerging Talent, which is an award given by the Globe Soccer Awards in Dubai. All right, let's do the comment section, and then we are going to talk about the big news today, which is that the court has ruled against Barcelona, blocking the registration of Dani Olmo. All right, let's see. Mez says, now on to Plan B. Yes, we'll talk about Plan B in a little bit. That's the next segment. I don't want to get ahead of me, but not a funny guy. I'm sure you're funny, man. Come on, don't do that to yourself. Says, what's up, Mo? Hope you're doing well. I hope you're doing well, my friend. Thank you for your comment and for watching. Homani says, why does it always feel like this club is cursed? I don't think it's a curse. Again, I'll talk about it in a little bit, but I don't want to, get ahead of myself. Kurt Alexander says, hi, Mo. Good night. What is it that Nike is doing about Dani? I mean, Nike has nothing to do with this. They're simply the sponsor of the club. They're the company who provide the club with their clothing, right? They renewed the contract. They signed the contract. They gave Barcelona a lot of money. They're going to continue giving Barcelona a lot of money. They have nothing to do with the financial fair play. They have nothing to do with how Barcelona manage their money. That's not their business. They're simply a partner. It's like if you, for example, are behind on your mortgage, you haven't paid your electric bill, you're behind on your car payments, and your whole household is a mess. And then someone says, hey, what is your brother doing about it? And it's like, my brother has nothing to do with this. Like, anyways, Kurt Alexander says, if Nike is our sponsor, then why don't they do something to save the club and our players? Again, it's not their job. Nike has renewed the contract. They've given Barcelona a big signing bonus. They're going to be increasing their payments every year. There's going to be, bonuses if Barcelona achieves certain things. They're it's not their job, my friend. They're just simply a sponsor of the club. All right, brother Francis says, this club is really going down. I don't want to say going down. It's the opposite. We're coming out of a big hole that we were in. We were much worse off a few years ago. We're improving. Of course, it takes patience, right? You cannot undo 10 years of mismanagement overnight. It's just not going to happen. It's not even going to happen in 2-3 years. It's going to take a lot longer. It takes time. It takes patience. But there's also have been mistakes made, and I'm going to talk about them in a little bit. So let's use that as a segue into the news, because I'm sure you've heard by now that the commercial court in the city of Barcelona have ruled against Barcelona and in favor of La Liga, blocking the registrations of Dani Olmo and Pau Victor. Now, as you know, both Dani Olmo and Pau Victor had only registered till December 31st. Barcelona were hoping to achieve the 1-to-1 rule with the Nike deal and be able to register both players. La Liga said no. So therefore, Barcelona took La Liga to court. There was a hearing on Monday where Barcelona attorneys made the argument. La Liga's attorneys were there also. They also made their argument. And today, the judge ruled in favor of La Liga, stating that Barcelona will not be able to register Dani Olmo and Pau Victor under that precautionary measure, which is what Barcelona were trying to get. In other words, they were trying to get the court to get them registered until the end of the season. And then by the summer, Barcelona finding a different way to register the players. So for now, Barcelona are going to have to figure out how to register those two players. Now, they're saying that Barcelona will present an appeal on Monday in order to see if they can, win the appeal and register the players that way. And it looks like they're going to argue something else, something alongside that. All the registration rules are invalid because they are, established by a governing body that's incompetent, which is La Liga. I mean, as an attorney, that argument seems to me like just throwing shit at the wall, hoping something sticks. It doesn't seem to be like a winning argument. If the argument about the accounting discrepancy and how the Nike deal should have counted did not work, saying La Liga is incompetent, therefore all the financial fair play rules don't count, that seems like a far, far stretch. And it doesn't seem to me like it's going to go anywhere. Which, of course, begs the question, what is Barcelona going to do? Now, there is a plan B. Don't get me wrong. I'll talk about it in a little bit. But if you're planning the appeal on Monday, that's December 30th, and that appeal is rejected, that means you have less than 24 hours to register Dani Olmo and Pau Victor, because after December 31st, which is Tuesday, so by Wednesday, January 1st, at midnight, the two players will automatically be deregistered. Now, Barcelona do have until the end of the winter transfer market to register them. They have until January 31st to register both players. But until then, until the closing of the winter transfer market, and until Barcelona register them, they're not going to be able to play any competitions. They're not going to be able to play in the Copa del Rey, which is on January 4th. They're not going to be able to play in the Spanish Super Cup, which is January 8th. They're not going to be able to play in La Liga once La Liga resumes. So, yes, we have until January 31st to register them. But after December 31st, if they're not registered, they cannot play any competitions. Now, it seems that Barcelona also made a boo-boo. I don't know why. But apparently with Dani Olmo, they didn't really process his federative license until the end of the season. They only did it until December 31st. And that's why he cannot play any competitions. Had they processed his federative license until the end of the season, he would have been able to play Spanish Super Cup, Copa del Rey, and Champions League. He wouldn't have been able to play La Liga, but he would have been able to play the other competitions. Barcelona didn't do that. They only processed his license until the end of the season, so Dani Olmo's not going to be able to play any competitions starting January 1st until he's registered. Now, if Barcelona don't register Dani Olmo or Pau Victor by January 31st, it's over. They don't play for the rest of the season. It's done. We're not going to see them until next season. Now, of course, Barcelona do have a plan B, which is to sell the VIP seats for 20 years. They were initially saying 200 million euros. Now they're saying 120. I don't know what happened with the other 80. I don't know if it's going to be less seats that they're going to sell or if it's the same amount of seats, but because they're in a rush, they're looking for the other people decided that they want a discount. I don't know, but now they're saying 120 million euros. We're going to need more explanation on that. So there is a plan B, which is to sell the seats to generate the money registered to players, but it's not looking good. And it's not looking good, not because La Liga hate us, not because, Florentino Perez or Javier Tebas. Barcelona's at fault here too. Barcelona is at fault here too. Now, don't get me wrong. Joan Laporta inherited a mess. Inherited a club on the verge of bankruptcy, a club that had huge debt, a club whose income had shrunk tremendously, a club whose players were Asian and had insane contracts with insane salaries and bonuses. And he's had to work on that mess, reducing the expenditures of the club, increasing the revenue, getting rid of all these huge contracts, reducing the wage bill. He's done great work. Don't get me wrong. But there's also have been mistakes done along the way. Because even though we've reduced the wage bill, we haven't reduced it enough Because yes, we got rid of a lot of players who were earning a lot of money, but we also signed players who are making a lot of money. Lewandowski, Rafinha. We renewed Ansu Fati. His salary is huge. So what's the point of reducing the wage bill and get rid of a lot of your high earners if you're just going to replace them with more high earners? Now, don't get me wrong. They're not earning as much as the other players used to make, like insane salaries. Messi earning 100 million. That's insane. Whatever. You decide whether he deserved it or not. I'm not going to go into that road. But again, what's the point of getting rid of all those high salaries if you're going to replace them with more high salaries? Also, Dani Olmo. Did we need to sign him? And I said this in the summer. I said, do we need to sign Dani Olmo? And I said, this is not a criticism about the player. I'm not saying that the player sucks and Barcelona shouldn't sign him. I said, do we need to? Because we had someone who was registered, Ilkay Gundogan, in the same position. Did we need to get rid of Gundogan to bring someone else for the same exact position who we knew we weren't going to be able to register? Now, the season began. Dani Olmo had some good matches, and people were like, oh, see, Mo, Dani Olmo shut you up, blah, blah, blah. And I said again, I didn't criticize the player. I didn't say Dani Olmo is going to suck. Dani Olmo shouldn't be signed because he's terrible. I said, do we need to sign him when we have someone in his position? Well, it seems that time has proven me right, because here we go. We're in a position where we have to sell club's assets. We have to sell VIP seats to register a player who we signed in place of a player that was already registered. That, to me, does not make sense. Yes, the club was a mess. Yes, Bartomeu is to blame for that. Yes, La Liga makes things hard for us. But La Liga did not decide to sign a player that we did not need, that we knew we couldn't register. That was all Laporta and the board's fault. There was no need for Dani Olmo. Simple as that, especially if you knew you couldn't register him. Why did you sign him? Why did you sign Vitor Roque when we had Margue in the academy and when we already had Pau Victor, by the way? Pau Victor here is not the problem. He cost us 2-3 mil. His salary, I'm sure, is nothing. So, sure, you could have signed Pau Victor. But did we need Dani Olmo when we had Gundogan? Did we need Vitor Roque when we had Gu and Pau Victor in Barca Athletic? All these are mistakes that were made by the board of directors. This is not La Liga's fault. This is not Javier Tebas' fault. This is not Florentino Perez's fault. This is not Bartomeu's fault. This is John Laporta and his board for signing players that they didn't need and that they knew they couldn't register. Because what happened if Andreas Christensen hadn't gotten injured? Then what? Dani Olmo would have been sitting on his ass this whole fucking time. We got lucky that Christensen got injured. And that's not really luck, because one of your best defenders got injured. What happened had he not gotten injured? How the hell would we have registered Dani Olmo? Did we need Dani Olmo? The answer is no, and we're paying for it. Anyways, I want to hear you guys' thoughts and opinions. Let me see what you guys' thoughts are in the chat section. If you're watching this when it ends, let me see what you guys think in the comment section. Kurt says, so Danny gonna just leave like that? He could. There is a clause in his contract that says if at any point in his contract he's not registered, he can leave. Meaning that January 1st, he's not registered. Technically, yes, he could leave. But Dani Olmo has said in the past that he wasn't going to leave, that he wasn't going to exercise that clause, that he was, he was confident that Barcelona were going to find a solution. And I'm sure Barcelona will find a solution. Barcelona always finds a solution. But we should not be living on the edge. We should not be playing chicken with La Liga every freaking transfer market. Let's see. Brother and Francis said, oh, wait, I already read that. Not the Gamer says, Barca's case versus La Liga. They changed the rules after our proposal was accepted. Well, La Liga told the jury, if you choose our side, you got 10K and season tickets to watch Real Madrid. All right, let's see. Amy says, nice to see that 4 of the top 5 players are playing in the Spanish league. It could be more. It could be the top 20. But unfortunately, La Liga continues to insist on being clowns, whether with its mediocre refereeing, whether it's with its horrible financial fair play rules that is causing clubs to lose talent left and right. All the clubs are losing talent because they cannot. By the way, Barcelona is not the only club having financial fair play problems. There's a lot of clubs in the summer that had to sell their young talent to the Premier because they couldn't register them. So unfortunately, La Liga is just so horribly mismanaged. It could probably be the top 20 players playing in La Liga, but instead everybody wants to play in the Premier because unlike La Liga, they actually have their shit together. Let's see. Raul says Ronaldo's just an obsessed crybaby. He said Saudi is better than League On because Messi played there. That guy will always be second to Messi in anything, and it hurts him even in his nightmares. It's so sad too, by the way, because I mean, don't get me wrong. Penaldo's still like one of the best players in history. I mean, an incredible striker. Well, I guess he's not a striker; he's a winger. But I meant to say attacker. An incredible attacker who, has broken so many records, has won so many things collectively and individually, and to just be so haunted that someone else is better than you is just, you can see. I mean, every time he opens his mouth, you can see that it just weighs on him that Messi is better. It's like, dude, just accept it. You're still one of the best players in history. Like, anyways. King says, what's good, Mo? I wish this fan base wasn't so reactionary. Tough times happen, but progress is what is most important. And Barca has progressed. There are always setbacks, but c'est la vie. Appreciate the news. Appreciate you, my friend, watching and commenting. And yes, I agree. Progress is slow. Unfortunately, like I said, 10 years of mismanagement under Jose and Bartomeu are just not going to go away overnight. It's going to take time, lots of patience, lots of work. But I feel in this case, the board is also at fault for what they did. There was no need to sign a player that we didn't need, that we knew we couldn't register. And now we're going to sell clubs' assets to register this player that we didn't need, that we signed in place of a player that was already registered. Street Fighter says, hey, Mo, are we still playing the end of the year friendly like what we did last year with Club America? I don't think so. I don't think there's a year-end friendly. And it's good because these players need rest. The calendar was incredibly hectic. 3 FIFA international breaks during this first half of the season. And we were only playing 2 competitions, La Liga and the Champions. And it was already crazy calendar. And it's only going to get crazier because now we have the Spanish Super Cup. We have Copa del Rey. And we cannot just be, having the players flying all over the world just to play friendly matches. They need rest. Not the Gamer says, a lot of people recently have been talking about Ernesto Valverde win record in La Liga. Can you remind us why we kicked him to the curb? Because he sucked. Let's be honest. Ernesto Valverde was really a good coach. He was carried by the leftovers of Luis Enrique era. Messi always, just go back and watch any of his matches. Incredibly boring, predictable football. Always struggling against any team. And then Messi at the final moment would grab the ball, dribble 4 or 5 defenders, score a goal, and we would win the match. And that's why he was actually lasted that long, because Messi was always there to save his ass. I mean, how many debacles did we have under Valverde in the Champions League, against Liverpool, against Roma, the Spanish Super Cup, Copa del Rey. I mean, there was just debacle after debacle because Messi couldn't save us all the time. So when he couldn't save us all the time, the team was exposed for what it was. It was a weak team under weak leadership. But most of the time, his defects were covered by Messi. And that's why we got rid of him. And we should have gotten rid of him a long time ago, way before we got rid of him. He's a shitty coach. Matt says, La Liga are corrupt. And of course, their president is a Madrid fan lying to us. Again, I don't think this is a La Liga problem. The financial fair play rules are the financial fair play rules. They apply to all the clubs. We knew what they were, but we insisted on signing a player that we didn't need to replace another player in the same position who was already registered. And not any player, Gundogan. It's not like we were replacing, I don't know, Ferran Torres. Like we were already replacing a great player. But anyways. All right, let's get back to the news because we do have to talk about Rafael Leao because he's currently causing a lot of doubts, sparking a lot of doubts and debate within FC Barcelona. Now, as you know, Leao is looking to leave AC Milan. He's had a falling out with the coach. He hasn't been getting much minutes, and as such, he is looking to leave in the summer. Jorge Mendes is insisting on bringing, or at least putting pressure on bringing Rafael Leao to Barcelona, even though he's not really his agent, but he's very close to the player and his entourage, and he's kind of like trying to facilitate Leao's move from Milan to Barcelona. Jean Laporta has always been a huge fan of Rafael Leao. He's been wanting to bring him for a very long time, but of course, the economy does not allow it because apparently it reminds him of Ronaldinho, right? And remember, Ronaldinho was Jean Laporta's signing, someone who completely changed Barcelona for the better. So Laporta very in favor of bringing Leao. Jorge Mendes is pressuring to try to bring Leao. Leao reportedly favors coming to Barcelona. So all of this has generated a debate within the club. If Barcelona were able to sign Leao, should they sign Nico? Now, right now, there's a lot of doubts within the club for two reasons. Number one is the price tag. Initially, they were saying 120 million, but apparently Jorge Mendes has told Barcelona that for 75 million, AC Milan would perhaps want to part ways because after all, they don't count on him. So 75 million euros for a player that you don't count on, that you don't want, that you don't need. That's actually not a bad deal. So that's the first reason that's causing doubt, because even at 75 million euros, that's still a pretty high price tag that Barcelona simply cannot afford. The second reason, and this is the big one, is his indiscipline. Leao has had problems with his coach. He's had problems with the board of directors of AC Milan in the past. He's had a lot of clashes with management, and Barcelona have noticed that. And they've noticed that, and there's a lot of people in the club that don't like that. And I tend to agree, because these things might not be things that we like to think about or that we think about. Discipline, all that, we just tend to think about, oh, is the player good or not? Sure. But we've learned that that's not enough. Skill is not enough. Dedication, concentration, discipline, all those things matter just as much. Joao Felix, perfect example. Incredibly talented player. One of the most talented players in Europe. And yet he has failed at every club ever since leaving Benfica. Why? Because he simply doesn't have the discipline to perform consistently, right? We've seen it. Ricky Puig, incredibly talented midfielder that we all were thinking he was going to be the next best thing. He failed. Why? Very indisciplined. Like to party, like to not listen to the coaches. So it's not just talent. Talent is not enough in the modern world of football. Discipline, concentration, focus, all that matters. And Barcelona see that Leao has a problem with discipline. And therefore, that's another reason why they're doubting on whether Barcelona should sign him if they could afford him, which, of course, that's a big if, because, again, even at 75 million euro price tag, still something that Barcelona cannot afford. All right, let's get back to the chat section, and then we will talk about Pablo Torre. Let's see. Brother in Francis says, honestly, I see La Liga against Barca in every way possible. And Kano says, with all of our registration issues, can we acknowledge that Nico Williams waiting until next season to entertain a Barca move actually makes sense? Yeah, I mean, that's actually that was his reason. His reason was registration, right? And the agent was very clear with Barcelona. Like, look, if you cannot guarantee us the registration, we're just not coming. And Barcelona were like, well, we cannot guarantee 100%, but we're positive that. And he's like, all right, never mind. And now it looks like he was right the whole time, because instead of Dani Olmo, right now the headlines would just read Nico Williams, right? Right now we would be saying, oh, the court blocked Nico Williams' registration. And then, oh, we're going to have to sell seats to register Nico Williams. But at least in the case of Nico Williams, it would have been a player that we needed. So at least, like, all right, we needed a left winger. We brought a left winger. Yeah, we can't register him. But in the case of Dani Olmo, we had Gundogan. He was already registered. Sure, he was 32, but he had another season. We could have held on for another season. And then in the summer, when our financial fair play is better, then we could have went and signed someone else. But no, we had to get rid of a player that came for free, that was registered, to make room for a player that cost us 60 million and that we knew we couldn't register. Again, what would have done had Christensen not gotten injured? Someone explain that to me at Barcelona. What happens if Christensen hadn't gotten injured? Dani Olmo would have been sitting on his ass this whole time. Klaus says, it's my birthday, December 30th, and for my birthday, wish it will be that Barca can register both. My man Klaus, I haven't seen you in a while in the comment section. It's so good to see you back. In case I don't see you on the 30th in the comment section, happy birthday, my friend, and happy new year, and happy new year to all of you watching. But really good to have you, Klaus, and I hope all your birthday wishes come true. And Richard says, this is very strange, Mo. Barca need to report La Liga. I mean, what's there to report? Hey, we knew what the financial fair play rules were, and we still signed a player that we knew we couldn't register, and now we're trying to sue La Liga for not being able to register a player that we knew we couldn't register. Is that the argument we're going to go with? Joe said, signing Olmo was a very stupid idea. He played basically half of the matches, and some of them he played limited minutes because of injury concerns. I agree. Again, I never criticized the player himself. I always said we don't need Olmo. There's no reason to spend 50, 60 million on a player that we don't need. And it looks like I was right, even though people at the beginning of the season were like, Mo, Dani Olmo, shut you up, ha, ha, ha. When will people learn? Anyways, all right, let's do the last bit of news, and then we will do more comments. But let's do the last bit. I was going to say the best lit of news instead of the last bit of news. But let's do the last bit of news, and it's regarding Pablo Torre, because Getafe are pushing and pushing hard. Push it. Dun, 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 dun. They're pushing really hard in order to sign, not register, Pablo Torre come this winter transfer market, either on loan or on a permanent transfer. Now, Pablo Torre has only played 9 matches this season and only accumulated 267 minutes. That's incredibly low. I think I've spent more time than that scratching my balls this season than Pablo Torre has played on the field. But yet, he has scored 3 goals and provided 1 assist, which is pretty impressive, actually. And of course, this has given a lot of rumors that is Pablo Torre going to leave in the winter, is going to be sent on loan, especially after Flick opened the exit door to him, Eddie Garcia, Ansu Fati. Well, Ansu Fati not officially, but they're saying he did too. But definitely Eddie Garcia and Pablo Torre. Flick spoke to them, said, hey, if you want to stay, cool. But you're not going to be getting much playing time. If you want more playing time, you're going to have to go somewhere else. So despite Flick opening the door to Pablo Torre, despite Pablo Torre getting very little minutes, despite all of this, it's reported that Pablo Torre does not want to leave. Pablo Torre wants to stay until the summer. He believes he has what it takes to convince Flick otherwise, to earn more playing time and earn more minutes on the field. And as such, despite Getafe's heavy interest in the player, Pablo Torre will be staying. So, sorry, Getafe, I guess you're going to have to wait until the summer. Of course, assuming that Pablo Torre continues without minutes and eventually in the summer decides to leave. Now, I personally don't see Pablo Torre getting more minutes only because there's so many players ahead of him. If this was, and this is not a knock on Pablo Torre, because I think, he's a good player. He has lots of promise. If he was playing, he'd probably be even much better, because he's not playing. That stunts your growth. But unfortunately, he's not better than Pedri. He's not better than Dani Olmo. He's not better than Gabi. He's not better than Casado. He's not better than Bernal when Bernal comes back. So unfortunately, I just don't see it. Anyways, let's get back to the chat section, and then we will end the live stream because it's all the news for today. Wow, I cleaned my glasses and I can see so clearly. It's so amazing. You have no idea how dirty my glasses were. All right, let's see. Kata King says, good night, Mo. Seems like Barca is only shooting itself in its leg. Wow, I can't even read. Yeah. In this case, yes, absolutely. And Omar says, hi, Mo. Don't forget, Gundogan was also willing to leave Barca. We all know, Barca is Barca. No player is above the club. Yes, Gundogan decided to leave Barca because Barcelona decided to sign Olmo. And then Flick was like, hey, we have Olmo. The club just spent a bunch of money on him. So they're going to be, They're going to be expecting their investment to get minutes. So therefore, you're not going to be getting as much minutes as last season. Because remember, last season, Gundogan played every single match. He had the most minutes out of anyone. So, of course, Gundogan was like, okay, well, if I'm not going to be as important, if Dani Olmo's here, I guess I'll leave. If Barcelona hadn't signed Dani Olmo, I don't think Gundogan would have left. Because why would he? That position would have still been his. Cara says, nah, man, Laporta board can make mistakes, but overall, they're still doing a good job. He tried to please the coach, even though the hands were tied. Look, don't get me wrong. Overall, I think Laporta is doing a good job. Yes, he's reduced the wage bill by a lot. He signed over 30-plus new sponsorships, increasing the revenue of the club massively. He has cut expenses all across the board, not just the salaries of the players. He has gotten rid of a lot of the big contracts. He pushed through that Spotify Camp Nou's renewal, which seemed like something impossible because what investor is going to want to invest into a stadium of a club that was on the verge of bankruptcy, but somehow Laporta convinced them and they went through it and he pushed through it. So don't get me wrong, he has done a lot of great things, but just because Laporta has done great things, it doesn't mean I'm going to ignore when he does bad things. It's not how it works. It's like I always say, it's not about always defending someone and it's not always about attacking someone. You defend someone when they do something right. You attack them when they do something bad. And that applies to everybody at the club, players, coaches, board of directors, presidents, etc. You cannot defend someone all the time. If they do great, you defend them. If they do bad, you defend them. No. You have to call out when they do bad things. You applaud them when they do good things. Same goes for everybody. Richard says, at some point, we need to stop blaming that Madrid fan. Tebas, stop blaming Madrid fan refs. We need to mainly hold ourselves responsible for our constant struggles on and off the field. I agree with you. Are there some things that we can blame on them? Sure. But not everything is everyone else's fault. Sometimes we have to accept responsibility and say, hey, in the case of Olmo, we fucked up. We signed a player that we did not need, that we knew we couldn't register. Again, this is not a knock on Olmo. I'm not saying that we shouldn't have signed Olmo because he sucks and he's terrible. No, he's shown us that he's a pretty good signing. But if you can't afford something, you shouldn't go for it. You know, I would love to have a Ferrari. Can't afford it, so I'm not going to buy it. Doesn't mean that Ferrari sucks. It's an exotic car. It's one of the most coveted cars in the world. Anybody would love to have a Ferrari. But if I can't afford it, I'm not going to go get in debt and buy it and then be struggling to pay the monthly payments and not be able to pay my rent and my electricity and not be able to buy food because I just want to have a Ferrari. I'm not going to do that. Same thing with the club. Again, it's not a knock on Olmo. I'm not saying Olmo sucks. But if you cannot afford him, then why the hell did you sign him? Now, I do have to say one thing, though. This whole financial fair play rules, the registrations, it's pretty stupid. If you're not going to allow a club to register a player, don't allow them to sign him in to begin with. That's another thing that I think it's stupid. But anyways, we knew the rules. We knew we couldn't register him. Why the fuck did we sign him? But I do think the rules have to change where if you cannot register a player, you shouldn't be allowed to sign him to begin with. Because guess who pays for that? It's the player. If the player doesn't get registered, it's him who sits on the bench, not even on the bench, in the stands the whole season because he wasn't registered. And a football player's career is very, very short. They only play until they're 32, 34, maybe 10, 15 years at tops in top flight football. And if you sit out 1 year, that could be up to 10% of your career. And you sat out that 1 year because some stupid club signed you that couldn't register you. So I think the rule should be if you cannot register a player, you shouldn't be allowed to sign him. Done. Save us all the heartache. Let that player go somewhere else when he can't be registered and not have to miss part of the season because he wasn't able to be registered. Daniel says, hi, Mo. My name is Jennifer Foster Labiru. We are picking you up. They can get presently. They do the fast stuff on today and tomorrow. Remain the name. What? We are. I don't think I understood your comment, but if you want to clarify, that'd be cool. Joe says Gundogan is shit and no, come on, man. Gundogan was literally the cornerstone of Manchester City that won a treble. I wouldn't call that shit. Man says Leao would be perfect. Everything fits in, but if we have and Nico would be good. Rashford also wants Barca. So many left wingers want to come here. I'm not sold on Leão. Don't get me wrong. He's incredibly talented, but he's also been highly inconsistent. And we've seen what inconsistent players do, regardless of how talented they are. It's just not worth the headache. Richard says, Mo, you're right. However, looking at Gundo's current form at City this season, you're telling me you would prefer him over Olmo, even though Olmo has been slumming lately. I mean, Gundo's form at City is everybody's form at City. You know, nobody's screaming, hey, we shouldn't sign Haaland because his form at City. His form has also dipped. Everybody's form at City has dipped because the whole team's form has dipped. It's not like City's doing great and Gundogan is doing like crap. No, they're all doing like crap. But yet, I don't see anyone complaining about Haaland. Every time Barcelona's linked to Haaland, everybody's like, Haaland, Haaland, Haaland. You know? The Matrix says, no more player signings until we finish fixing the budget and selling Abde when we have no left wing was... Actually, no. Selling Abde was a great idea because Abde sucked. Let's be honest. All he did was just run. Like a headless chicken. Just run. Run after the ball. Get his head down. Run. Just, he was not... Plus, it was Abde who wanted to leave. It's not like we wanted to sell him. Kara King says, I actually was wondering if Flick happy with the team as is. Why did they go out and buy Olmo? Another thing, right? Flick never asked for Olmo, by the way. Flick said, hey, I'm happy with what I have. I'll work with what I have. And Barca was like, all right, cool. Let me go bring you something you don't have. And it's like, why? Walter says, Mo, something funny happened today. A ton of fan tried to mock Barca about UCLs when his own club has. That reminds me of what was that kid? I think he was Swedish. Already forgot his name, but Barcelona were like really close to signing him. He had even agreed to come to Barca. Deco had met with him, and we were like this close. Bergvall. There we go. Bergvall. And then he ends up going to Tottenham. Like last minute, he decides, never mind, I want to go to Tottenham. And he goes to Tottenham. I remember this guy, a Tottenham fan, who came to the channel, and he was like talking so much crap. And I was just laughing. I was like, bro, you're a Tottenham fan. Like, what? Like, you don't get to make fun of anyone because you're a Tottenham fan. Like, that in alone is the joke, right? I don't even have to make fun of your team or your current situation because just being a Tottenham fan is like you're automatically a joke. That's it. Nothing. No more said. So I was like, what is this guy talking about? What is he making fun of? It's like you're a Tottenham fan, bro. Like, come on. Not the gamer says, how Barca Athletic doing? Heard they got a new coach, and that's it. P.S. Real Valladolid just hired that failed Mexican national team coach that lasted 5 games. We scored 40 past Valladolid. Barca Athletic are not doing good because they've lost all their stars. They pretty much either got promoted or left the club. Right? It's like everybody, they had the best defense in Fai and Mbake, and Mbake was pretty much injured for the whole first half of the season. Fai left. Gu left to Chelsea. Kouarsi got promoted. Who else? Casado. There goes their whole midfield. Casado and Bernal, they both got promoted. So they're not doing too hot. Also, Pau Victor, he was like half their goals last season, and now he's on the first team. So it's like they lost their defense, they lost their mid, they lost their front. Cochen, he was injured for the whole first half of the season. So they're not doing good which it's fine. People are always like tripping out, oh, Barca Athletic. It's like, dude, Barca Athletic is called the reserve team for a reason because its only job is just to feed the first team players. The Barca Athletic is not a team that Barcelona has in order to win trophies and do great. It's a reserve team. It's literally in the name. It's a reserve team. This is not like Barcelona's first team who are in 3rd division and we need them to get the 2nd division and then first. No. It's the reserve team. Its only job is to feed players to the first team. Klaus says, everyone mocks Tottenham here in the UK, even Millwall fans. I mean, like I said, being a Tottenham fan is a joke in itself. So you don't get to make fun of anyone if you're a Tottenham fan. Like, there's just, anyways. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that is it for this podcast. Thank you guys so much for tuning in, for your likes, your amazing comments, your subscriptions. If you haven't done so yet, hit the like button. It really, really helps the channel more than anything. If you haven't subscribed yet, make sure you hit the subscribe button. I will see you guys in tonight's video, in the news video. And as always, peace, guys.